Nico Harrison is officially fired. I repeat, Nico Harrison is officially fired, but I think the problem is still there in Dallas. Now, before you think this is one of those contrarian NBA videos where I try to come off as super deep and thoughtful and, well, here's the angle you to think about. No, I just generally believe these things. I'm not rage baiting. This is not a troll video that I'm doing for views. It's not some gimmick. I like basketball, and I really do believe what I'm saying. I am not saying that Nico Harrison should not have been fired. I'm not saying that. I'm going to give you some more detail, but I am not saying that he should not have been fired. Before you get to the comments like, oh, Gifted, what you mean he should have been? No, Nico Harrison should have been fired, but that is separate from the point I'm trying to make. I find it so funny that in all these conversations from game to game where you see many Mavericks fans saying, fire Nico, fire Nico, fire Nico, no one is mentioning Patrick Dumont. The idea that a general manager can trade a superstar player, face of the franchise type player, and the owner doesn't sign off on it, no one else, like there's no other chain of command, it's just the GM, is foolish. And if you believe that, you are gullible. Patrick Dumont accepted this. And I know he accepted this because we have an interview of him talking about the trade. And guess what? Doubling down on why he did the trade. So we're looking at Nico Harrison and we're saying, fire him, fire him, fire him. How about the owner that literally acquired the team and within a span of months traded the franchise player? And I already know the Bale response. Oh, but Gifted, he didn't really know too much about basketball. He didn't know what Luka meant to the Mavericks.
Luka's a phenomenal player. He's a generational talent, and this was hard. It was emotional for the people in Dallas. I heard from the fans. I respect their voices. I listened. We know that this wasn't easy. If we lost any of our fans' trust, it was hard, and I apologize. But I hope over time we can regain that trust through hard work, and that's our plan.
The argument that Patrick Dumont does not know enough about Luka, and that's why this happened, is wrong, because he's here doubling down on understanding the impact of who Luka is. In his mind, they had to do what was best for the franchise to win titles, win championships. And further in the broadcast, he even breaks down the work ethic like Shaq, Kobe, and other people. And essentially, it's kind of sneak dissing Luka, if we're being honest. And this all goes into the hit piece, which goes back to Nico Harrison just doubling down on defense and championships and all this stuff. But Luka Doncic's impact as a generational player, he understood, and they still traded him. Now, what people will do is get it confused and say, well, I'm caping for Nico. I'm not. Nico should have been fired. The minute a GM calls me and I'm the owner of the Dallas Mavericks and they say they're thinking about trading Luka, you fire them. You get them out of Dodge. I have no issue with that. But the onus should be on the person that has the most power in the situation. And if you generally are trying to tell me that a generational player can be traded at the whim of a GM, and not multiple forces at the top have to agree on that, you're wrong. Patrick Dumont then continues to try to double down on the justification of the trade by speaking to how much basketball sense the roster makes in comparison to them just having Luka.
This was a decision about the future. If you look at our roster today and who we have, we feel like we position ourselves to be incredibly competitive against the best teams in the NBA. And if you're a fan of basketball, I'll just throw that out there, you have Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, and either Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively as your starting five. That's going to put fear into a lot of teams in the league.
The idea of this roster didn't even make it a calendar year. Anthony Davis gets hurt the first game. Klay Thompson is just washed. Kyrie Irving tears his ACL, and they draft Cooper Flag. So within a year, whatever sense of contending and being in the race that they had or thought they were, upon trading Luka, it died. Now, granted, there were some other injuries, and people are going to use that as justification for why Nico Harrison shouldn't have been fired. But I just find it so, like, the logic is not consistent. How can you say you made a move for the future by trading the generational player that was going to elevate your future, and then not even a calendar year into this regime, you're firing Nico Harrison? What the firing should represent is this isn't going too well. Every time we lose a game, they're chanting, fire Nico Harrison. It's rubbing off on the players terribly. It's bad vibes. Someone needs to go down for this. That's why Nico Harrison was fired. And again, I can't say this enough. He should have been fired. He should have been. But the fact that the owner is escaping all the smoke and can come out with a press conference statement speaking to the Dallas Mavericks fan base saying, I failed your trust, all this and that, it means you were wrong. It means you had the power to do something different and you chose not to. And he should be held accountable for that more than just Nico Harrison. And I can't even give grace to the whole injury point because, yes, Anthony Davis went down. Yes, Kyrie Irving went down, and we weren't able to see the full vision of what this roster could have been at full strength. But guess what? That's the NBA. And more than that being the NBA, you ironically did not give the same grace to Luka Doncic. When the Mavericks made the NBA Finals, Luka Doncic was hurt. He was not the full strength of what we know Luka to be. He wasn't the same caliber that he's been in previous postseason runs. And then at the beginning of the season, he also sustained another injury. So Luka to me clearly was not the same that they had seen before last season. So for you to trade him, independent of that, independent of his age, you're saying we need to win right now. We just feel like this current version of Luka isn't good enough. So then you trade for older players who have injury history. And then they get hurt, and now I have to give grace to that when you didn't want to do that for a younger star who's actually played more games than those guys in the past and has been a first-team All-NBA performer. Like, the logic is not logicking for me. It's not. And that's an issue. So to put all of this on Nico Harrison and not the owner who had the power shifted over from Mark Cuban to him is insane to me. He deserves to have his feet to the fire even more. And I can almost guarantee you, when the Mavericks continue to lose games by a pretty big margin, they're going to shift the chance from fire Nico to fire Patrick, because now there's no one else to blame. And I don't want to act like Nico Harrison didn't have some very big moves. Again, he was a huge part of the construction of the team that went to the NBA Finals. He made some very important moves for this roster, but also giving up Grimes for basically nothing was insanity. I didn't love that move. And again, the biggest cardinal sin, because even though he might have had other missteps, trading Luka Doncic and the justification for it in these press conferences, you deserve to be fired for that. You 100% do. But the owner was backing him. The owner was in support of him. This is not a unilateral decision that only Nico Harrison is making. So the idea that Nico is just the main thing wrong with the Mavericks, the villain, all this and that, it's ownership. And more importantly, how they're going to moving forward to, quote unquote, repair the relationship with Mavericks fans. You legitimately took a fan base's heart, ripped it from them. You traded a generational player that was basically the second coming of Dirk in a different way for the modern era. You took that away from them, and now you have to hope on rebuilding around Cooper Flag and all of this dysfunction, which is possible. He's a very young player, but I don't think Cooper Flag is going to be Luka Doncic. I don't. I think he can be a very good player. I really, really do. But I don't think his ceiling is going to peak out to where Luka Doncic would have been. That's the situation that you put yourself in. And now you fire Nico Harrison because everyone kept saying, fire him, fire him, fire him. When that reality sets in and it kicks in, that's not going to bring Luka back, they're going to think about you, Patrick Dumont. It's just crazy how this idea that Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis were going to be the pillars for the team construction is one thing. And then not even a year into it, they're now going to entertain Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving trades. Like, this entire team, the idea of it is dead within under a year. This is terrorism for an NBA fan base. It really is. The biggest area of blame that Nico Harrison deserves, more than trading Luka in of itself, which again is bad, I agree, but it's the fact that you got no ideal close to compensation for it. The fact that we're living in an NBA where Desmond Bane can go for 4 unprotected first round picks. Rudy Gobert can go for more unprotected value. The fact that you didn't get a crazy draft pick out of it is nuts. And when you look at the Dallas Mavericks books, it gets really spooky. After this upcoming draft, Dallas does not have control of their first round picks until 2031. So from 2026 to 2031, Dallas will not have a first round pick. What that tells me is moving forward, they have to trade Anthony Davis. They have to trade Kyrie Irving. They have to trade these guys to get as much value as they can because they don't have control over their own future. And the sad part is I don't even know what Anthony Davis's real value is. He's a very good player, but the injuries keep piling up. He's an older player and he's making a lot of money. Like that trade for Dallas, I don't know if you're going to get the requisite pieces that you would want to get as compared to keeping them. But ideally, if you don't have a first round pick, you have to do whatever you can to secure that. And if that means trading Anthony Davis and or Kyrie, you have to do it to me. The idea of that has doomed the Mavericks more than just trading Luka in of itself. You didn't even give yourself a chance to be fully prepared to make a shift in the future if needed. So it's a complete failure all around. I'm closing out by saying, Dallas fans, I feel bad for y'all. It's going to be a very tough time for y'all. What happened to you is one of the biggest sports tragedies really ever, especially in my lifetime. I wouldn't wish that on no fan base. I feel bad. But at least you have Cooper Flag. At least he is someone that has potential that you can try to develop up. And hey, maybe if the next GM can make better moves and maybe Patrick Dumont plays back a little bit, things can look good. But right now, things aren't great, and I think it's going to be a very shaky season. But such is life, such is the NBA. We got to move on. Appreciate everyone who made it through the video. We got more of this coming on the way. We'll get back to actual basketball talks, but just this Nico Harrison stuff had me bent. So I had to record about it. But peace out. I'll catch y'all in the next one.